It's Saturday, and you know what that means. Welcome everyone to another episode of Stan Hansen Saturday. This is episode number 11, and this week we are going to look back at Stan Hansen making his debut in ECW on August 7th, 1993 at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Back then, this was ECW before it was Extreme. It was Eastern Championship Wrestling. And here on this TV episode, Stan Hansen was going to challenge Jimmy Superfly Snuka for the ECW television title. This match was the last match on the episode, so there was a lot more leading up to it. Before the match actually started, ECW President Todd Gordon showed up ringside to announce some of the matches for Ultra Clash 1. Todd Gordon announces the main event for Ultra Clash number 1, and as he's doing this, Stan Hansen comes out and shoves Gordon out of the way. He grabs him, uses his bull rope and chokes him a bit. Stan Hansen then grabs the mic and talks about how he will be teaming up with Terry Funk against Eddie Gilbert and Abdullah the Butcher. When talking about his opponents, he does mention Abdullah the Butcher, but claims he does not know who the other guy is, which of course is Eddie Gilbert. Hansen then yells out that he wants Jimmy Snuka out now for a match. He then leaves the ring. We go to a commercial break, we come back, and we get a promo from Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Paulie Dangerously talking about Stan Hansen. Snuka says Hansen has a big mouth and shouldn't mess with the real thing. Snuka then used his catchphrase, TCB, taking care of business. And then he howled and woofed a bit as the interview comes to an end, or the promo comes to an end. The commentators for this match are Jay Sully and Paulie Dangerously. So we come back to the match, and it's Jimmy Snuka defending the ECW television title against Stan Hansen. Snuka is accompanied by Eddie Gilbert. Right before the bell rings, Snuka attacks Hansen. Hansen quickly catches Snuka with an arm drag and then tackles him, sending Snuka over the top rope. Hansen then chases after Snuka, but then decides to go after Eddie Gilbert. While this is going on, Snuka then attacks Hansen and uses a table on Hansen. He kind of tries to it's like this really small table. It's not a regular size table, but a smaller table. So he kind of tries to bash Hansen's head into it while holding the table. They finally get back in the ring. Snuka follows with a knife edge chop to knock Hansen down. They both go back outside again, and they continue their brawl. Hansen hits Snuka with a chair and then rams him into Eddie Gilbert. They get back in the ring, and Snuka begs off Hansen, who continues his attack on the Superfly. Hansen lays in a few forearms on Snuka and then gets him in a headlock. He keeps throwing a few punches and gets a warning from the referee. Hansen then gets up and threatens the referee. They exchange some chops, which leads to Snuka kicking Hansen and taking him down. Snuka, with an Irish whip, sends Hansen into the ropes, but Hansen ends up reversing it and kicks Snuka. Hansen gets Snuka with a DDT and goes for the pin. Snuka is able to get his foot on the bottom rope, which of course then leads to Snuka getting back into the match. Snuka tosses Hansen into the ropes. Somehow when Snuka tosses Hansen into the ropes, when Hansen hits the ropes, he kind of goes in between the middle, the top and the middle rope. So it kind of I guess there was a little bit of there wasn't as much snap in the rope, so he kind of just falls into the middle rope. Snuka goes over and grabs Hansen and tries to whip him into the rope for a second time, but Hansen is able to catch Snuka with the lariat. Hansen goes for the pin on Snuka. Eddie Gilbert then runs in and attacks Hansen to get Snuka disqualified. Eddie Gilbert starts to celebrate as if he's stopped Stan Hansen or beaten Stan Hansen, but that gives Hansen time to recover, and he grabs Eddie Gilbert by the neck, takes him into the corner. At that point, the referee is trying to break him apart, but then who should come out but Freddie Gilbert, who was at this point in time within ECW. He was Eddie Gilbert's alleged younger brother. So he runs in and he charges in to save his big brother, Eddie. He jumps right onto Stan Hansen. Stan Hansen just flips him off of him, and then he just destroys Freddie Gilbert. He pulls down Freddie's pants and spanks him, and then he tosses him over the top rope. So Stan Hansen ends up winning the match via DQ. Hansen then decides to ask for the mic. He tells the fans that he is blown up and out of breath because he's big and he's old and he's fat. He's got a fat gut. But on September 18th, he and Terry Funk are teaming up and coming after Abdullah the Butcher and Eddie Gilbert. It's a really good promo to hype up that match. This was a really good segment to end the show. This was a really good episode of ECW. If you have not watched ECW from the early stage, there's about a period of time where they're kind of like struggling because they have a lot of older guys coming in, and so the action's a little slower. Then it kind of picks up within a month. Within 6 weeks into the start of ECW, it gets really strong by about mid-July as more guys start coming in, and there's a little bit more intensity, more excitement on the shows. And obviously they bring in Stan Hansen, who always brings in a lot of intensity and excitement onto shows. So there's that time period, and really up until the point where Hansen is part of, and Eddie Gilbert and all these guys are in the promotion. It's doing well. Then there's a period of time for ECW for about 2 months where it's just, when Eddie Gilbert leaves, it's really kind of like dropped off completely. And then it kind of takes the time for Paulie Dangerously or Paul Heyman to refocus the promotion, and it kind of gets hot again. But this was really a cool moment where you see Stan Hansen in the promotion. Really fun stuff. He really does fit in. It seems odd because it's a smaller arena, and if during this time period, since most of Hansen's work was happening in Japan, you were kind of used to him working in front of a large crowd. So when he comes here, it looks a little bit more smaller arena, smaller setting, a little bit more of a at-home type of atmosphere. But it was a fun, like I said, it was a fun match. Snuka at this point in time was kind of like towards the tail end of his career, didn't have as much to give, but Stan Hansen was able to get a lot out of him in this match, and Stan Hansen was still really awesome at that point in time. So really fun match. Give it a watch if you have time. It should be on the WWE Network. I think that's where it definitely is, on the WWE Network, because that's one of the things they did upload early on, was a lot of the ECW stuff. So that's about it for this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to the Retro Wrestling YouTube channel, and remember, every Saturday we celebrate by recapping a Stan Hansen match. So long.